This is the Wall Street Shuffle.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Shuffle. You've got Chris Renfro here sitting in for Danny Stewart and Mr. Dan Kofall here. My debut here on the Wall Street Shuffle. I just said here, 3 times? Fantastic. Be sure to check us out on the Wall Street Shuffle, www.thewallstreetshuffle.com. Feel free to call in at 877-326-3255. And don't forget about our holiday party. And on the line now, we have a special guest, Mr. Gerald Celente. Gerald, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me on today, Chris.
Absolutely. You know, this is new to me, but before we start and get into some of your questions, there was one question that I have to ask here. Have you gotten any of your money back yet?
From MF Global?
Yes.
You mean from John the Slime Causline, who the committee said was responsible for bringing down the firm and can't find $1.6 billion? That one?
That would, I think that's the one, yes.
Is that the one we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
The one that doesn't get brought up on any charges because he's a member of the White Shoe Boy Club, that guy?
That's the one.
Yeah. The guy that was the former senator and governor of New Jersey. And before that, he was the CEO of the Goldman Sachs gang. That John Causline?
That's the one.
You mean the John Causline who Gary Gensler, who is the head of the Commodities Future Trading Commission, used to work under when John the Slime Causline was the head of the Goldman Sachs gang? That one?
One and the same.
You don't mean the same MF Global that Eric Holder, our esteemed Attorney General, used to work for, that white shoe law firm that represents MF Global? That MF Global, and is that what you're talking about?
I believe that's the one,
You mean it couldn't be because, that Holder worked for the same white shoe law firm that's representing MF Global, that neither MF Global or John the Slime Causline have been brought up on any charges. I got back 80% of my money.
80%? Well, that's good.
It's not good.
No.
There's a lot of money out.
Well,
And this guy, I can't find $1.6 billion. I don't know what I did with it. Who could get away with this crap? You've heard me say this before. The word justice in America is being misspelled. It's Justus. You get busted 3 times for smoking weed in different states, and they lock you up for life. 3 strikes, you're out. But rob $1.6 billion, and you're a member of the Democratic or Republican mafia, hey, take it easy. Take it easy. He's one of the boys.
So I'm just guessing here. I'm not 100% on it, but did I hit a nerve?
Oh, boy, you did. And I have to tell you, it's not only me. It's the guy that they just busted last week in Orlando, Florida, for planting. The nerve of this guy. He planted a vegetable garden in his front yard.
Oh, yeah, we read that story.
Yeah. It's one after another. The kid's selling lemonade. It's going to the airport and getting felt up by some freaks with TSA. It's I mean, come on. A woman comes, an old lady in a wheelchair. Yeah, you don't know what she got in that wheelchair. She may be with Al-Qaeda, I tell you. You see, Chris, this is what happens in a society that's breaking down, where you have the gap between the rich and the poor, the widest of any of the industrialized nations. And in my day, when I was a young man growing up, we were the most egalitarian. So when you read about how they hate the cops and the officials in Egypt and Tunisia and other third world countries, and all the slime at the top is getting the free ride, welcome to the USSA. Because the same thing is happening here.
You said USSA.
You got it.
And?
People say, that Obama's a Marxist, he's a communist. It's fascism. It's the merger of state and corporate powers. I mean, who made up this line? I got one for you. We got to bail out private banks because they made bad bets. And because they made bad bets, and if we don't bail them out, then we're all going to die.
Okay.
Who made this crap up? This isn't capitalism. Capitalism, you rise and fall on your own merits. The whole game is tilted toward the too big to fails in every aspect of society. You want to open up? I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna create 70 jobs. Okay, I'll give you 10 years. No, you don't have to pay taxes. We'll give you some loans and we'll even put some infrastructure in for you. But if you want to open up a little shop, his and hers, mom and pop, whatever, his and his, hers and hers, you open up a little entrepreneurial shop. You know what they get? They get the strong arm of the law. They got every damn inspector from the state making sure you do everything by the letter of the law.
Yeah, that's a fact. I mean, I own a couple of businesses myself, and I know exactly what you're talking about there. So let's talk about a couple of different pieces. I hear a rumor that you are featured in a new film. Is that a factual statement?
A number of them. Which one?
Heal Yourself.
Gee, I don't know that one. Maybe, yeah. I've been in so many of them. I do have an honorary doctorate in complementary medicine from the National University of Health Sciences. And one of the first books I worked on back in the 80s was Natural Healing. At a time when, when a time in New York State, for example, you couldn't get acupuncture in the 70s and early 80s. So, yeah, maybe I am in it. I do so many of these. A lot of people ask me to do documentaries, and if I believe in the cause, I do them.
Fantastic. All right. In 2012, you forecasted that there were going to be massive riots, and it would be the greatest depression of them all. Are you still sticking by that forecast?
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, you see what's going on in Spain?
Yes.
See what's going on in Greece?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody talking about what's going on in Portugal and Italy? Millions of people are taking to the streets. The reason you don't see it happening in the United States as well is, number one, people are drugged out. And I'm not talking about, meth and coke and that kind. Yeah, they're on that. But all this other stuff, like the mind-numbing stuff, all of these prescription drugs, these antipsychotic drugs that have people brain dead, and also the whole food stamp issue. You have, 50 million people on food stamps.
Right.
Without the food stamps, there'd be bread lines. So they keep them off the bread lines, and they keep them quiet. So in the United States, you're not seeing it as much as you're seeing it around the rest of the world. And then you don't know, as a trend forecaster, I always make it clear, no one can predict the future because you never know the wild cards. So here's some wild cards for you. In the United States, you go back several months ago, everyone was betting against another quantitative easing. Let's get rid of the language now. Let's not call it quantitative easing a QE3. Let's call it debasing the currency by printing digital money not worth the paper it's not printed on. And then you go over to Europe. You go back a year ago, just around this time, a month later, they came up with LTRO, long-term refinancing operation. Hey, you're a bank. You need money here. Take it. Don't worry about it. Take it. Just take it. We'll talk about it in 3 years. So that kept the game going again up until around April over in Europe. Then it started collapsing again. I got another one. We're going to buy up worthless sovereign debt indefinitely. Just call me Mario Draghi. Mario Draghi. Hey, where's he from? Oh, he couldn't be a member of the Goldman Sachs gang, the vice chairman, head of the European division, could he? He couldn't be the same Mario Draghi that got Greece into the Eurozone and made them applicable for the Euro and cooked the books. Not that Mario Draghi that was connected with that they ostensibly say. Yeah, that one. And it couldn't be also that same Mario Draghi, after coming up with LTRO and coming up with buying sovereign debt indefinitely, he couldn't be the same Mario Draghi that just came out with a new scam of buying. I forgot the initials, but it's basically get your money at any time. They come up with 3 letters for it. So this is what's going on. They're debasing the currencies worldwide to keep this thing going. No one alive, no American alive has ever witnessed interest rates this low. I just took out a commercial real estate loan for 3.25%, 10 years.
It's unheard of.
It's unheard of. So that's what's keeping this thing afloat. In the meantime, at the other end, you have all of these Americans that are losing their homes. And this, to me, is a criminal act. You're elderly or you lost your job, whatever the circumstances might be. You can't pay school or property taxes. Get the hell out of your house. Wait, what is it? As I said, Chris, this isn't the United States of America. It's the USSA. And there is a new world order. And it's not an Illuminati. It's not hiding behind any kind of facade. It's called the banking order. That's the new order.
Okay, so let's back up for a second. You just got a commercial loan at an all-time low interest rate. What was the qualifying process like?
Well, I have good credit.
So it was easy,
and I have
not
assets.
a problem.
But again, I had to go through the whole thing, But I had, I put different things in collateral, and they were worth, even at the levels of declining real estate prices, they're still worth more than I borrowed.
There you go. Okay, so.
But what it's doing is it's stopping people from saving, because as a young man, there used to be a quaint little thing that people used to save for their old age and save for their retirement and save for a rainy day. Now you put your money in the bank. What do you get?
You get nothing.
I can't use the word.
But no, I get what you're saying. I have clients all the time that ask me, where should we put our monies, because we're getting nothing in return from banks. So where's the best investment opportunity out there? So, obviously we're looking at precious metals and those kind of things that make sense.
The real estate that I'm buying, by the way, I bought a 1750s house. The Franz Rogen. Anybody could Google it up. FRANZROGGEN, on the most historic corner in the U.S., the only place up here in Kingston, New York, where there's a pre-revolutionary stone building on each corner. And then I bought another one from 1774, the Kingston Academy it used to be. So I'm buying historical buildings with value to them, not for myself, but I'm a single guy who's married a lot of years, have no kids. It's only me. To leave it in better shape than it is now, and I'm only a steward of it, and I can do it, and I'm doing it. So that's why I'm making these kind of investments.
Fantastic. Finally, we've got about a minute and a half left to go here. I want to ask you, what do you think we could learn from the MF Global scandal?
Oh, what I've learned, and by the way, I'll make this really quick as I can. When 9/11 happened, and I lived north of New York City, the first thing I did, it was one of the first things I did, was I called my bank, Fleet Bank at the time. They bought out, I think, by Bank of America since. And I had all my money in certificates of deposit. And I wanted to get out of here because I didn't know if the nuclear power plant at Indian Point was going to blow. And I was ready to head to Canada. I had my gun, my gold, and my getaway plan. Because if that thing went, you would see humanity degrade to levels unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So Fleet Bank informed me I had all my money in certificates of deposit, and I couldn't get it out because Wall Street was closed. That was lesson number one. I had no dough. I only had several $1,000s in the bank. Number two was MF Global. My money was in segregated accounts. It was my money. He stole it. Let's call a spade a spade. The lesson is, Chris, if you don't have it in your possession, you don't own it.
Kind of like our U.S. debt?
Kind of like if you have gold and you don't have it in possession, you don't own it. You have money in the bank and they call a bank holiday, you don't own it. You have money in the bank and they call a bank holiday and devalue it, you lost. They've done it before. I believe they'll do it again. They did it in 1933. Why not in 2013?
Gerald, we thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have you on, and your opinions are always welcome. You know that, right?
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Thank
All the
you.
best.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Guys, next segment, we're going to have an open segment. Feel free to call in at 877-326-3255 with your comments, questions. Feel free to ask me anything about health care. You may or may not get an accurate answer. And we're going to come back with Shane's mid-trip audio wipe. Back on the Wall Street Shuffle.